This is going to be a plank progression from a higher to a lower surface. The higher the surface I have my hands on, the easier it is. The lower I go to the ground, the more of a challenge. With my planks, I like a minimum of 30 seconds, maximum of 90 seconds to 2 minutes. If you get to 90 seconds or 2 minutes, you're probably ready to go to a lower surface and you won't last as long, which is fine. So going from easier to harder, easiest is going to be at the wall. So just hands at the wall. I'll walk my feet back a little bit so my shoulders are around a kind of 90-degree angle to my trunk. I try and spread my fingers out nice and wide. I tuck my elbows in slightly, and I try and make sure that my back is not caving in. So I try and make sure that I tuck my pelvis underneath me and my body is in a straight line. My heels can be on the ground or slightly off the ground in this position, whatever's comfortable. And I also try not to let my head kind of fall off of my body. So I think about just very lightly tucking my chin, and I'm pushing myself away from this wall. So this would be the very beginning of a plank against the wall. There are a lot of variations I do here, but static plank would be the first one, right? If this is fine, I can go to a lower surface. So I may go to kitchen counter with all the same characteristics of elbows in, chin tucked, not letting my butt kick out, and once again I can hold here. Okay. And then from here, something a little lower in my house may be table height. So I have this mat table. Now as I start coming down to table and lower, I have the option of doing it on my hands or on my elbows. So, both are fine. I typically like to be a little bit more on my arms, but either one is perfectly okay. The further I go down, you're going to notice that my heels are going to start to come off the ground now a little more. So when I go to table height and my elbows are tucked in and I push away and I tuck my chin, my heels are off the ground. So this could be here, or the other version would be down on my forearms, right? This position is fine, just make sure you don't start to hike those shoulders up. So even as I'm here, I'm thinking about pulling my shoulders down away from my ears and pushing myself away from this table. So my shoulder blades are pushing a little bit apart. Just so you see what I mean, I'm pushing them away from each other, but I'm not doing that with an upward shrug, right? So here my shoulder blades are squeezed. Here they're pulling away from each other. I want this pushed away, like I'm pushing myself away from the ground. So I'm not sinking, I'm pushing away. And then from here I can go to chair height. And same concepts. I like to spread my fingers nice and wide. I'm once again up on my toes, elbows tucked in, pushing myself away from the chair. And I'm making sure that my back is not starting to sag, so I'm tucking my hips underneath me. And once again, I can have a static hold here, or I can do the same thing down on my forearms or elbows. Once again, making sure that I don't start to hike these up towards my ears. And then last of all would be the floor. Same concept. Here I am, elbows tucked in, pushing the ground away from me, chin tucked. It could be here, it can be here. Really just making sure for me that I don't start to let that back sag. So as I go to these harder positions, if I can have a mirror or someone nearby, if they tell me my back is dropping, I really need to correct it, or I need to go back to one of the higher up positions to where I can still control where my pelvis, where my low back is positioned.